Production.
What is poppin' with the squad? Let's get one last breakdown of Galaxy before we uplist into the Nasdaq, and we're gonna go over a bunch of technicals from daily to weekly time frame, short term to long term. So let's get right into it. First thing I want to highlight, okay, so we bottom April 7th, right? A bunch of news comes out, Galaxy Nasdaq uplisting. You start to see the Trump tariffs get settled out, right? All this tariff talk is coming to an ease. Trade deals start being made. Markets start to rip, right? Trump's tweeting out, buy now. Markets are going much higher. You're starting to see what was it the other day? Trump met with some UAE big dog and a bunch of these like founders and CEOs went like something's happening here. Obviously, markets are in a position to go higher as of right now, right? So with the momentum on our side, you see names like Galaxy and a bunch of other names perform extremely well, okay? What we have here, and it's not so easy to see on the daily time frame because it's split up in spurts, but the amount of bullish volume coming in since April 7th is extremely significant in my opinion. You start to go to the daily time frame and now it starts to be, or the 2 day, and it becomes a little bit more obvious here, right? Clear reversal. We reclaim our 8 EMA and now we're just steady riding the 8 EMA. It's almost as like there's been a constant bid since April 7th. Excuse me. Obviously, right? Like a big part of this is the Nasdaq uplisting, right? People want in before the Nasdaq uplisting because they're anticipating something big is going to come that day and to come, right? So people are obviously trying to position themselves. You start to look at the 3 day time frame. This volume here is it's significant compared to the last who knows how long, over almost a year, right? You look the past year, just these past few weeks have been probably the most significant volume, right? You look at the weekly time frame and it's very elevated. You could also tell because we have such a strong bounce. It's been like 5-6 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's the 6th week. Extremely strong bounce, right? So just from the lows to the highs, right? So from the lows we made to the highs we made here, 187%. In my opinion, when you add all the macro things going on around, like again the trade deals, the tariffs, all that shit, and then you see Bitcoin above 100K and you see Galaxy come out very early that they're gonna, like over a month ago, saying they're gonna be uplisted to the Nasdaq. This, plus you look at the price action, you look at the volume, is a very big signal that this is positioning, right? This is longer term positioning. To me, it doesn't seem like it's just a quick pump and dump. So for those on the Galaxy feed who are screaming that we're going to dump here, I don't think we're going to dump, okay? You look at the daily time frame, you look back, let's just point back major resistance levels that we struggled at, right? So here we have about $35. And if you continue to scroll left, you could see back in 2020, 2021, the major zones we struggled at here, right? So obviously we could not clear 43.98 and we could not clear 46.70, right? So that gives us a pretty solid gap. Again, you could also mark out this area as well. Let's do that. We'll mark out right here, right? So that's the 37 area. These 4 levels, give us the resistance points that I think we could run into tomorrow. Tomorrow's the Nasdaq uplisting day. I'm expecting us a gap up move. Whether we gap up and it's a sell-off or we gap up and run, this is what the area that we're playing with, in my opinion, okay? These are the zones in the next few weeks. We're gonna have, I imagine, some sort of struggle, right? You've even seen it on the Galaxy feed already. People are already talking about, selling off some shares at the Nasdaq uplisting or around the Nasdaq uplisting to, take some profits, which is all expected, right? If you come in with like an objective point of view, I think that's pretty expected. Another reason to expect some sort of struggle around this range is we just pumped 187% in a little bit over a month, right? So this is an explosive move, right? So it's almost asking to be somewhere around this range. Let's call the middle of this $40. And then we spend a few weeks to allow the 8 EMAs to catch up. Again, this is just how my brain is. Again, is this going to happen? I have no clue, dude. It could go blow off top. It could be a very slow, steady grind upward. But again, what I'm looking for are patterns, and oftentimes an event like this can cause a gap up move where we might end up somewhere in this range. There we go. We might end up somewhere in this range and then have one of these candles where we come back down and we close around something like that. That is one of the things I'm expecting. What that would do for us is it would basically establish that zone is where we want to play in. It's where we want to see more people buy Galaxy shares over the next few weeks to absorb all of the supply in this area. Again, we're getting uplisted to the Nasdaq. What does that mean? Way more liquidity, way more exposure. I think what that creates is the opportunity to weaken this area's supply in a lot faster time frame, right? So instead of what would normally take Galaxy on the TSX, who knows, maybe another 6 months, maybe what we could see here is we get that early move and we quickly digest that move within, let's say, 2, 3, 6 weeks. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. And then while that happens, I'm going to expect some sort of a consolidation. So if we gap up into those previous zones, right? If we gap up into this zone area around here, again, it's pretty wide, I know, but from 35 to 45, let's say, if we play in that range, I'm expecting us to have some sort of pattern. We could be looking at a potential wedge to form, right? We could be looking at one of the big booty bottom patterns, right? So there's a wedge that could form in that area. We could be looking at one of those big booty bottom patterns where maybe we rally right up into this range. We create that nice bottoming look here, something like that, where we play in this area. And again, it would look something like this. We get that strong move, and then we play in this area, consolidate just a little bit, weaken these zones, and then we get the explosive move. Right, so these are a few things that I'm looking at here. It could be a simple bull flag, and then as the weeks go on, if we're looking at a potential, breakout to the upside, I think there's going to be, again, another thing we should be looking out for. Let's pay attention to this stablecoin bill that is potentially going to be passed in the next week, 2, 3 weeks, right? This is a big discussion in the space. Again, to me, the stablecoin bill gets passed, and that's almost like don't take what I'm saying as Bible script, right? But to me, that signals like, okay, obviously they're trying to make the steps to convert the USD into something even more easily, how would you put it? Tradable, printable, right? So if anything, over time, you will eventually see the USD weaken, I imagine, and whether that's through printing or we see rates drop and then the USD follows to drop with that. That is what my thoughts are about around this stablecoin bill. And if it does get passed, that's a bullish catalyst for Bitcoin and Galaxy in general, right? So in the next few weeks, that could be another catalyst to drive Bitcoin price up, which would help aid in Galaxy's price also increasing. This is what we're looking at weekly time frame, right? If we're zooming out, that's more of my short-term thoughts, right? So the next couple weeks, with the big bang being tomorrow's Nasdaq uplisting. When we're looking long term, I think it's very evident to point this out as well. Again, You can keep some of those lines there. I like to create a little zone. This zone right here, to me, it seems like it's so obvious. This is like, again, let's flip the chart upside down. And if we're looking at this from an upside down point of view, it almost looks like a head and shoulders. So of course I'm looking at it from an inverse head and shoulders point of view. But to me, what this looks like is it looks like the stock wants to hang around this area, right? Whether we get something like this and then break down from the inverse perspective, right? That makes complete sense to me. If I flip it upside down and it looks like it's going down, it's the perfect setup. So again, the inverse head and shoulders here is, again, it's a very reliable pattern when you start to piece together all the different aspects going into it. So again, Galaxy's we all know the fundamental story behind Galaxy. It's actually like, it's almost a movie, to be honest. Like, if you look at Galaxy compared to its peers in the space, they all have significantly not just time as an advantage, but the access to capital, as they were talking about in the AMA the other day. These other companies have had such a significant advantage. Galaxy's kind of just been trailing along the whole time, building such a strong foundation, and now they're gaining access to this. And something, again, I think this is kind of understated. There's a few things. Just the name. Like, just think about Galaxy, the name. When you think of like a random investor, someone who doesn't know too much, or even the average person, or even someone who's pretty skilled, let's say. Look at the big names: Tesla, Apple, Google, Microsoft. They're almost like buzzwords in a way, right? Galaxy has that essence. It has that aura. It's a buzz name. People are going to be talking about it. You add to that Novogratz being like the best spokesman you could have for a company like this, with his institutional, network. We could be looking at, this is exactly what we could be looking at, right? And it adds up, all of these fundamentals, all the macro behind it adds up to the chart pattern, pointing towards a massive 4-year inverse head and shoulders that looks like pretty soon it's about to explode to the upside. That's my whole entire thesis from short term to long term. That's what we're looking at, I think. So it's a very exciting time. We just need to be patient. Along the way, of course, there could be some hiccups regarding macroeconomic news. Let's say it's war, like we could talk about the tariffs. There's always a theme at every specific moment. We'll just have to be looking with a keen eye on what the next theme is going to be that will disrupt markets and cause hiccups in the markets. Other than that, everything, it's like scripted. It feels like it's almost too good, if you get what I'm putting down here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. That's the breakdown. I'm going to be enjoying a nice long weekend out here in Ontario, going up north. I might not have the ability to post videos, so I wanted to post this video tonight. I hope you guys got some sort of educational or some cool little learning experience from it in terms of TA, and like just how I've been trying to understand, recognizing chart patterns and the markets in general. So cheers, guys. Congrats on Nasdaq uplisting. We will talk soon. Peace.